Really try to promote what's recognized as best practice at the middle level, and that includes a strong standards-based approach to what we do. Begin using learning targets. Communicate explicitly to the kids what you want them to know and be able to do, and just begin to practice with it. We want to see it on the board. We want to see it on student work. We want students to be able to talk about their learning targets. We've really asked teachers to identify power standards in each content area, and those are going to be really what we look at as the enduring understandings, the things that we want kids to take with them from one grade level to the next. And what I like about what we're doing is we're actually unpacking the standard into our scoring guide. So in order for a student to reach a score of 3, for example, to demonstrate proficiency, it's explicit about exactly what they should know and be able to do to hit that 3. All standards are unpacked into what we call student-friendly language in the form of I can statement. One of the big things that we're trying to do now is really foster a classroom environment and a school environment in which students have shared ownership over those learning targets, to the point where kids can actually articulate a direct connection between the work they have in front of them and the desired outcome. That's where the magic happens, when kids really share in that ownership, when they have opportunity to self-assess, where the feedback the teacher gives them on a formative assessment, informs the student as much as it does the teacher. And students sort of work through this progression along with the teacher. They can see the target, they know what the end result needs to be, is expected to be, and they're able to share in that journey. And when the path is clear for them, we find that students hit the target, they reach proficiency at a much greater frequency than a traditional method.
We started to make the shift towards standards-based and standards-based assessment. We weren't calling it that at that point. It came as a result of us meeting K-12 and just having a conversation about the most important things that we teach. And then once we were able to identify those at every grade level, it started clicking that what we had identified tied in very well with the standards. Bottom line with standards-based education is about student learning and about being able to, as a teacher, zero in on what students should know and be able to do. Many teachers get scared about implementing standards, but the reality is if you can kind of step back from that and think about what you want students to know on the most basic level. What do you want students to know as a result of being in your classroom? The standards come pretty easily from that. I think that a lot of times the documentation that comes along with creating standards, I think that can get overwhelming, and I think that it can make teachers get frustrated that they'll never be able to do it all. And that makes the process seem really, really, really difficult. But I think the reality is, for most teachers, when you step back from it and think about what you're actually doing in your classroom and what is important in your classroom, that you'll find that can be tied to the learning results, and it can be tied to the national standards. And it's not about reinventing the wheel. It's about finding better ways to assess students' needs and finding better ways to instruct them. The biggest obstacle that I have seen is when teachers try to take a standards-based assessment system and they try to make it fit somehow with a different kind of assessment. The philosophy behind a standards-based system is really a change in approach to instruction. It's about figuring out what your students need to know and be able to do, and then also figuring out ways to figure out whether or not they know it. It's not so much about the units anymore. It's not so much about the activities as it is what comes from that. It's more about, I have this unit, what do I want the students to learn from this unit, and then how do I score that learning?
What I love about it is kids aren't falling through the cracks. It might have taken him a while to get there, but he knows what targets to hit, what standards to hit, and he's knowing how to get there. Some kids don't always get there as fast as others. And with standards-based learning, I think that's okay. It's neat, it's giving them ownership. If anything, I reevaluate what I do more than in the past. So now it's making sure every one of those students gets it. And usually, and if every student gets it, the end result is really good music. I mean, there's no way around it, because if they're all hitting the targets, the only thing you're left with is proficiency.
Yeah.
And if you have proficient musicians, you have a heck of a performance. And hopefully along the lines there, they're inspired. And I think when students are in control of some of that learning process, that creates inspiration.
This is our first year that we are completely standards-based, and when I say completely standards-based, everything we do is 1 through 4, and it gets reported back to the parents and the students as a 1 through 4. There's no translation. There's no room for any breakdown and trying to manipulate grades back and forth. And because this is our first year, it's been a big learning year. Good. If I put a dot on an eighth note, how many beats is it worth? Now you got to get your math brains working a little bit. Lydia? 3/4 of a beat. Very cool. As a group, where did we run into trouble? More at the end, because of what Joey was talking about, that dotted rhythm. Mi, re, do. Do it. Mi, re, do. Awesome. Where else?
Was our rhythm wrong?
The rhythm was wrong. Yeah, it actually didn't really have much to do with the notes. I think the speed going from the half note to the eighth notes kind of caught you off guard. So it was a rhythm issue. For the most part, have high numbers up. Very cool.
We've had assignments where we'd have to sing a bunch of measures and record ourselves singing on our iPads. And we send them in to Mrs. Etter, and then we get
She'll grade them 1 through 4.
like on the grading scale and what parts we need to work on, like rhythm, tone,
So it shows us what we
We
need
need
to
to
get better at and what
like by
we're good
ourselves.
at.
Yeah.
This year with the iPads, we have been doing all of our assessments via Google, and Google Drive has been our vehicle for submitting any recordings of singing or anything like that. And I also use Google Forms pretty extensively. I found it's very easy to create a Google form that I can use as a check-in with individual students. Within 2 minutes or so, I can have them take an assessment and submit it back to me. It comes back to me in the form of a spreadsheet, and from that I have in one concrete document all their individual answers, and I can also create averages and graphs as a result of that, which oftentimes I will bring back to the students and share.
Well, to make our voices sound more mature, we sometimes record ourselves singing as a group, and then we listen to it, and we sing a song a couple times to try and see the difference. Formally, to check ourselves, we would talk about it as a group.
We did graded ourselves last class on what we thought we were good at and bad at, so we kind of like knew actually like what we needed to work on.
It's like kind of hard to just continually sing something properly. You have to keep working at it to get it to where it needs to be. So
This is the score you gave yourself. Your diction score, 3.11. We recorded ourselves singing For Good and Circle of Life. And then everybody rated your group on a scale of 1 to 4 on how you did in tone, diction, notes, and rhythms for those 2 songs. So based on your averages, after you submitted that 1 through 4, those are the averages that we came up with as a class. What needs the most work? Specifically, what in Circle of Life? Tone. Yeah, couldn't agree with you more. You guys know these notes, you know their rhythm. Tone is specifically what we're looking for here. 1, 2, ready, go. Not bad. Baritones and sopranos. 1, 2, ready.
Some say eat or eat, some say live and let live, but all are agreed as they join the stampede. You should never take more than you give in the circle of life.
Awesome job with tone, guys.
And the students that play it for me, they submit their video, and they're proficient. They play it with the correct articulations, correct notes, correct rhythms, nice tone quality. They get a 3. They're meeting the standard. That's what I asked them to do. Show me how to exceed an expectation or a standard. Some students will play it in multiple octaves. They'll play the arpeggios that go along with the scales, and that's not prompted by me. That's them kind of going, I want to exceed.
There's a PowerSchool app where we go online and we can go to standards grades, and she pops up and it shows all of our grades on what we got, like with rhythms and notes if we hit them right, and it's either 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Yeah, it shows each standard and the components in each that we needed to work on and what we're good at, so we can check and see how we're doing.
And then
in the
if
class.
we like do another one like a few weeks after and we do better at it, she'll make the 1 through 4 grade go up. So it helps us to see if we're getting better or not. Keep moving up and until like you want to hit that actual I can statement, like
Well,
I can.
what we should be able to do at the end of that class.
Teachers putting exemplars in front of kids, and for some reason I always see this in art rooms, I always see this in music rooms, I see it in the tech ed classroom, and those are one of the practices I'm trying to get other teachers to adopt. And so we've identified the learning target, and we share the rubric with the kids. We show them what each level looks like. You know, the next step is let's show them what an exemplar looks like. What are we really shooting for? And kids don't oftentimes have the opportunity to do that. And one of the things I see arts and music teachers doing on a regular basis is they're showing not only the exemplar, but they're showing each stage of the progression. And they can have students actually practice with that rubric on other pieces before they go ahead and attempt their work. And I think that it's fantastic, and we see student gains because of it.
The circle of life, the circle of life. Join me, so nice and straight. In the circle, 1, 2, ready, and in the circle of life, the circle of life, the circle of life. Yeah, the last time it goes up a little bit higher. The circle of life. That person over there, just speak it. Ready, and that person over there. I guarantee that like none of you put that T on the end. If you're speaking, it's easy to understand. If you're singing, it gets really, really muddled. That person over there. Ready, and that person over there. Yeah. Now sing that line. Actually, baritones, you can join us in your octave. That line, consonants twice as loud as your vowels. I've heard it said that people come into our lives for a reason. I've heard it said. 1, 2, ready, go. I've heard it said that people come into our lives for a reason. Yeah, I'm going to be even more nitpicky than that. Said. I've heard it said. Can be better. Ready, and I've heard it said. Touch it. Just a tiny little touch when I touch my hand. We got to make sure we're in sync with it. 1, 2, ready, and I've heard it said. Much better. Yeah, do the whole line now. Good diction. 1. Because I knew you, I haven't changed.
What standards-based education has done is it's changed my philosophy on that. It's really made me zero in on the students that used to blend into the background and the students that used to get by. They used to just find a lot of loopholes that they can't find anymore. So that's been the biggest aha moment for me. Right now, as far as a change in my approach to tailoring the education to every student, is the accountability piece. Every student in my class is held accountable for those standards on an individual level. Although we do group assessments, the students don't see a score as a result of that. It's purely a reflection piece when we do things as a group. On an individual level, every student is held accountable for the individual standards, and those are reported out to the students and to their parents.
La-ti-do-ti-la, la-ti-do.
was the first time you did it. I heard a lot of me, don't. It's about the learning and about how they feel that they know more now about what they're doing as to before. Even some of my accelerated students used to just kind of go through the motions. I would sing something to them, they would sing it back to me, and there was no analysis or decoding really of the music. Where now they're finding that they have a better understanding. It's much more academic on their part. They're not just regurgitating the information. They're not just regurgitating their music. They're really analyzing it and digging deeper into it and able to discuss why things work a certain way. It does take a little bit of emphasis off the performance piece. I've found that in my classroom in particular, the final performance, the big holiday concert or the big spring concert, doesn't take as much importance. It's more about what every individual is learning and not what the group sounds like as a whole. It requires more time on my part. Now it's about finding ways for the students to be able to analyze what they're doing and then perform it back to me. So the legwork that goes into that has a lot of different components where when I can't necessarily give one-on-one attention in a large group. So trying to find different techniques and skills to be able to accommodate everybody. It kind of came as a surprise to me when I began to realize that what I was doing was taking away from my actual performance. Is this really a direction that I want to be going in? And to me, it comes down to education being about every student. And trying to make sure that every student is able to experience things on as similar a level as possible. Parents are reluctant to change to a system that they don't know and they don't understand. I think they feel comfortable with the 0 to 100 A's, B's, C's, and D's. So that piece of the education of it can be difficult. My 5th graders are used to being graded at the elementary level 1 through 4. And the first day of class when they came in here, I said, hey guys, this is how you're going to get graded this year. No problem, no questions. It was a really, really easy transition.
Do, re, mi. Do, re, mi. Do, re, mi. Do, re, mi.
We do smart music, which is on the board. It's just like a line of notes and you have to read them out and like sing them. And if you get, it grades you at the end. Say you don't get the rhythm right, you could just go back and try the smart music again, or you could work on it at home and then go back and try it again until you get it right and you know that you know it. It sort of like improves your learning skills, because then you know, like, I have this strategy to learn rhythms, or I have this strategy to know how to do the proper solfege. And then you could maybe like use that in math or science. Like I have this strategy to memorize the table of elements. Or
Do, re, mi, fa, sol. First, okay? Do, re, mi, fa, sol.
My involvement in the MAAI has been a huge benefit for me, mostly personally, to kind of validate what I am doing in my classroom, and also to open my eyes to the connections that are available for me, being able to network with other teachers that have a similar belief system, and also just being able to take the resources away that I've been able to take away from the involvement in that, whether it's in professional development or just general conversations with different people in different areas that teach similar content to what I do. It's really, really made me think outside the box.
People all said, sit down, sit down, sit down, you're rocking the boat. People all said, sit down, sit down, sit down, you're rocking the boat. And the devil will drag you under with a soul so heavy you never float. Sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down, you're rocking the boat. Down, 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 sit 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 down, you're and vote